Colorado, man, it is good to be back. We are in our new studio. For those of you watching, hello, yeah, this is the new studio right here. Much bigger spot, which is great. And it's just been a long, many couple weeks here trying to get this ready. I'm sitting here with K4CO Radio Vice President Sarah Duke. How's it going, Sarah?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good
Happy
afternoon.
4th of July Eve.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a long weekend because it really is a long weekend. And it's lovely because fireworks are going off tonight around Colorado.
Actual fireworks. Don't get me wrong. I like drone
fireworks.
shows. They're all right.
You get a little bit of everything. Everyone's happy.
Yep.
Be safe. Take care of yourself. Drink lots of water.
Exactly.
And have fun. I love this holiday.
Well, this is a great day because we have our very first guest in our studio, in our brand new studio here today. And we have a great guest. And it's a very interesting concept. I remember a while ago I heard about it. It was just like the idea is absolutely amazing. So we have Tim Jones here, founder and executive director of Longer Tables. And you can go to www.longertables.org. And it's creating places of belonging in cities, companies, and all organizations. I really like that little catch line right there.
Yeah,
Tim. Yeah, I kind of do. Especially when, I find out kind of what you do.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a little bit into that.
Okay.
So, but to start off, tell us kind of when did Longer Tables begin?
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for letting me christen the studio. This is really an honor.
you. Oh,
yeah,
So
definitely.
this is you guys should be here listening. You should really be in the studio. Anyway, Longer Tables 10 years ago. This became a thing. I was living in LA. I moved back, grew up in Denver in Lakewood, moved back and met a new friend, Carrie. And she said, "Hey, do you want to have dinner with people that you would never have dinner with?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah." I'm an extrovert. I'm like, "Let's go." So she said, bring a side dish and a bottle of wine and show up. And so I brought, I'm sure, like a packaged pasta or something, and showed up. It was September evening outside. I show up and there's an 80-foot table with tablecloths, real play settings, greens, candles. And I'm like, oh, I thought that there was going to be like 8 people.
This wasn't
at
just
this
like a
table.
casual, hey, come over.
Yeah, no, this was, and it was kind of took my breath away. And so I walk over to the table, I walk down and I see people's names at every place setting. And then I see my name written, and she had written them on leaves. It was beautiful. And something happens in you when you see your name written at a place.
Right.
For those of it, you go to a wedding, you kind of anticipate it. But something like this, to see my name there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of intentional. There was a place set for me. Imagine if I didn't show up. So, and then 80 people showed up. And as she had said, people from all walks of life. Grandmas, teenagers, black, white, rich, the whole spectrum of people. And so, they're bringing their food. And Carrie welcomes us, and she said, "Hey, there's 2 rules tonight. Thank you for being our guests. There's no talk about work tonight, no job titles." And everyone panics for half a second. And then number 2, we want to experience the real you tonight. So because we're not talking about work, there's questions at the table that are going to help you go a little deeper than normal. And guys, I still get emotional thinking about that evening. I was blown away by how real people were, how vulnerable, the risks that they took in sharing about their childhood or their dreams or hard seasons of life. And what happens is when people are vulnerable like that, you connect.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, we are so much more alike than we are our differences.
It is amazing. Even I traveled a lot with my father back in the day. And, when you go out, my dad always said, when you travel, you'll realize that people are a lot similar than you think they are, than you think,
Yes.
And, it is amazing when, you just start talking with complete strangers and you can always find something in common.
Always.
You know,
Always.
and so I absolutely loved that, especially my dad saying that and us doing that traveling. So
Beautiful.
So you're at this dinner and you like the idea 80-foot table, and so what's brought on? Where did the idea of 80 foot? I want a longer table.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I walked away that night and I said, I don't know what this is, but I got to be a part of this. So we started doing this together. And Carrie's great. Carrie is this beautiful soul who's really, 80 foot is big, but she's content with that. She does it at home, 20 people, 15 people. Not for Tim. Tim's like, okay, we're going to lengthen this baby. So 20, we do this for a few years, and then I get a big idea. Realize we live in the Mile High City. We got to set the mile long table.
Yep.
And if you give 2 feet per person on each side of the table, that turns out to be 5,280 people at one table. Got to do it. Somebody's got to do that. I wish it weren't me, but
I'm glad it is you. Yeah. You're still smiling. You're so pumped.
My gosh.
I'm glad that you are.
Well, and it's beautiful, right? Because it's we think a lot about story, like the levels of story that are happening at a table. There's the story of the lives and the humans at the table, the stories that they're sharing about their lives, the story of the food. Most of these tables are potluck. And we ask people to bring a dish, a memorable meal, or grandma's recipe. And when you get to share about your grandma's recipe, what happens? You feel seen.
Right.
Like people understand a really deep part of you. So the story of where the table is set, like what happened on this property, what happened on this land. But then when we get into like the mile long table, this sense of collective identity starts ringing. There are so many things that have divided us in our world today. I was just speaking to someone about even council districts divide us, and it becomes like a battle over resources and things. So what in the world could unite a diverse, complex city like Denver? Well, we can all get behind the Mile High City.
I totally agree. Well, you've hit the nail on the head, truly. You're talking about authenticity.
Yes.
And I love that you use the word intentional and very collaborative. And it doesn't matter who you are, what walk of life you come from. No. The more, the better, because we are all intergrained. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is now. Interconnected. We'll go with that.
Sure.
Because
I like it.
This is on the website. So it says, because a connected city is a flourishing city.
Yeah.
I love that phrase. That one stood out to me more. And now, is that something that you came up with or where did those words come from?
Probably a late night over tacos. Yeah, we came up with that. That's really good.
That is really good. That one stood out to me.
Yeah, when humans we're social creatures. What is the worst that we can do to a human being?
Isolation.
There you go.
COVID. Right there.
COVID
was
isolated.
But,
our worst criminals, we isolate them.
Yep.
Right.
That's the worst thing you can do to somebody.
Solitary. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Solitary confinement.
Yep.
So the opposite of that. So we're social creatures. We come alive when we are connected, when we feel like we belong.
Right.
We're seen, we're heard, we're loved, we're part of it. Man, we can get through anything. There's this really quick story that I love thinking about. They surveyed World War II vets at the end of their lives and asked them, what was the happiest time of your life? What was the most fulfilling part of your life? And the researchers expected them to say something like when they got married and when they came back from the war. No, it was when they were in the trenches with their buddies.
Right.
That, because there was meaning, there was shared mission, and they were in it together. Right. And they belonged together. They ate, slept, fought together.
You relied on
for
each
a common
other.
purpose. You were in it together.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the most meaningful, impactful part of their lives.
Awesome.
Wow.
Well, I want to share this, that you have an incredible story. There's so much I want to unpack. For those of you just tuning in, we have Tim Jones with Longer Tables. If you want to go to the website and find out more information, go to longertables.org. And it's a mile-long table. It's so cool. July 26th at 10 a.m., the doors open at Auraria Campus. So it's in Denver. I can't imagine eating with 5,280 people. Like, there's going to be intense cuisine. So for those that are wanting to get involved, like I have to just put this out because there is a deadline lingering out there. July 19th is like the catch-all, be-all, end-all. So definitely go to milelongtable.org to get tickets.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different ways people can get involved. You can host, you can co-host, you can volunteer. Right. So do you want to go into those different options of how people can get involved?
Yep. We need 5,280 humans to come to the table.
Well, you have three here in this room. Okay.
Love it. So general admission tickets are $5.28.
Oh, you're milking this, aren't
we're milking
you?
it. I mean, who doesn't? That's just fun. I want to pay $5. So, and here's one of the hallmarks of or the intentionalities of our tables. You know, there's farm to dinner tables, all those, and they're beautiful things. What sets longer tables apart is accessibility. Mm-hmm. Number one. So if you can't afford $5.28, totally okay. No questions asked. Just click a link and you get that ticket for free. So the other intentionality is you are eating dinner with people you would never eat with.
Right.
So that I just want to mention that. So you can grab a general admission ticket. One of our central intentionalities is invitation. So we've done this for 10 years. We select and invite, a group of co-hosts that represent the diversity of the city, that are kind of from different pockets and represent the diversity we're looking for. And then they invite 10 people from their world, and then we mix everyone up. So that ensures, we're reaching into all parts of the city, and you're eating dinner with people you'd never eat dinner with. So you can be a co-host at the Mile Long Table for $75. You get 10 tickets. So a ticket for yourself, 9. And we say, I like to say, just don't invite your buddies. Like they could grab their own tickets.
Invite somebody you normally wouldn't.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Especially there's so many people in this world that probably feel unseen.
Right.
Like grocery store workers or the people on the corners. Like the table is open. Mm-hmm. So I always urge people to just take a little bit of a risk and invite somebody.
Right.
Because just that act of invitation makes someone feel seen.
Right.
Wait, you mean me? You want me to? Yeah, I would love for you to be my guest.
Right.
So then we have super hosts, which are companies or organizations. They get 20 tickets for $1,500, and all of that helps us set this table. So, and we need like 3,000. No, we need like 500 volunteers actually to make this happen. So you could serve on Friday night. We're going to be setting up the table, or Saturday morning early, and then you could join us for the meal at the table. So those are the three ways you can get a general admission ticket. You can be a host, or you can volunteer.
Nice. And again, for those tickets, go to milelongtable.org.
Yes.
And grab those tickets. You mentioned you have, I was blown away by how many sponsors you have.
Yes.
Like, this is pretty unheard of. People want to be a part of this, and I know why. You are breaking your own record, which we're going to go into that in a minute. I love that you set the bar high for yourself and then continue that.
Yeah.
You have so many sponsors. You have like roughly just 30 already.
Yeah.
But so we have Southwest, Serendipity Catering, and Hispanic Restaurant Association.
Yes.
Tell me about the story of Southwest.
Yeah. And just to begin, we would not be doing this without these three organizations. This table would not be set this year. So Southwest Airlines is they got in early. They started with us last year when we set a 528-foot table in Civic Center Park. And it was like 3 years ago, I was on the train at DIA, and there's a lesson in this story. And it's this: always show up and have that conversation. Take that risk. Talk to people. Because on my train, it was an empty train that morning, and I saw this woman in corporate Southwest uniform.
Wait, you had an empty train at DIA?
It was, it's unheard of.
That's creepy.
This was back in the day. I know. Maybe it was right after the pandemic. Maybe it was somewhere in there. But so I walk up to her and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Tim. What's your name?" And and told her, "Hey, we're setting this mile-long table, and I would just love to have Southwest involved." She's like, "Great. Here's my business card. Send me an email." Mm-hmm. So I send her an email. She ghosts me. Never heard anything. Yeah. I'm like, awesome. no judgment. But a year goes by and I get an email from Lexi at Southwest. And she's like, hey, are you guys still doing that mile long table? I'm like, yeah, well, we're trying to. We'd love to. And then another year of relationship building with her and Southwest, and they got in early. They were our first major sponsor for last year's table. Guys, they should have let this thing pan out for 4 or 5 years before they got in to make sure everything worked. But they so believed in the vision and the alignment with their core values. I know Southwest has been through a lot in the last few years, and a lot of painful things of getting, they had their first round of layoffs. They've been through it. But the fact remains that their heart is in the right place, and they are truly about connection and this idea of connecting people. So
what did they do last year? They flew someone in.
Well,
correct?
we're doing it this year. So everyone that registers for the table, RSVPs, we're asking them, hey, is there anyone in your life that you feel disconnected from? And like distance, or you just haven't, or money has prevented you to reconnect, and it's mutual. And you wouldn't believe the stories we're getting.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of stories of family members, college friends, all sorts of people that haven't been able to connect. And so Southwest, we are flying in some people to reconnect with their people in Denver at the Mile Long Table. And we're going to tell that story video. And we had a young woman who just graduated from DU reach out. She saw an Instagram ad and saw this Mile Long Table thing. And she's like, oh, I'm in. She RSVPs, and she tells us about this woman in Philadelphia who was her second mom during high school. And both of them went through very difficult seasons. But this woman sacrificed and poured into this young woman. And recently she has lost her job. She has some health issues. And she told us, man, I would just love if she could be flown in and sit at this table with me for all that she's given me, and that she's going through a difficult season. And so we're flying her in. And we're not only flying her in, but we are going to take her to dinner at some really fun restaurants. She's going to get to go up to Red Rocks, check out Red Rocks, and she's going to be one of our there. By the way, there is no VIP section of the table, but she'll be the closest thing to it.
That is amazing. I love stories like that. Man, they need to replicate this everywhere. And this is, you are breaking records. Nothing like this. It's the longest table in Colorado that's ever been done.
Yep.
And you set the last record, so you're shattering your previous record.
Jeez.
That's really cool. I admire when it's like,
is it?
I do. I'm with you. I love taking risks. I'm like, you know what? I can do it better next time. Or like, how can we create? So I'm going to throw an idea out.
Okay.
Just because I am this type of brain. I'm the that person, right?
Right.
I'm like, you guys can do this.
Yeah.
So when people sit at their table, do they stay at their same seat the entire time? Mm-hmm. So I have an idea where you can play a little musical chairs, where you pick up your table and you just move. So this side goes that way and that side goes that way.
You shift down.
You continue
just
every 10 minutes. And so you meet 5,000 new people.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have enough time in the day
No,
to do that.
no.
I mean, I just thought that'd be really cool. So I love that you get to meet people that you'd never meet before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what connection is all about.
Yes.
And food brings people together. Food and beverage always, that's why people congregate around the kitchen.
Right.
It's like, what are you people doing? It's like, because we're eating and talking. So I love this concept.
Yeah, here's a quick story. This provides context as well for why we have set longer tables. When I moved back to Denver, I was in an apartment complex in Denver, and they had a Saturday morning breakfast spread. And what's so funny about myself is I didn't want to go down there. There was some I actually have some social anxiety. When I go to parties, I'm very anxious. It takes me about 10, 15 minutes to relax and sink in. And I always admit, hey man, I'm anxious. It's okay to be anxious.
Right.
That's normal.
Yeah.
But what matters is you showed up. So I was like, Tim, you're going to go down to breakfast and you're going to eat some people who live in this building because that's a value to you. Yep. And I show up, there's like one person over in the corner eating yogurt. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, well, I'm here. I might as well get some bacon and eggs. So I get in line, and then this couple walks in the room, and they look like they're from India. I find out later they're from Sri Lanka, and they're gorgeous. I hate them. Anyway, gorgeous young couple, and they have Australia accents. So
nice.
They're from Australia. And they're like, hey, man, we just moved to Denver from Sydney. He had a few questions about where to drive up in the mountains, and very nice. And I didn't think a whole lot about it. And guys, 10 days later, they were in my apartment for dinner.
Wow. Cool.
And almost 10 years later, we are like family. Oh. We traveled together. I was the first person to meet their 2 kids when they were born. I have met their entire family and community. I haven't gone to Sydney yet and they're really upset about that. But if I would have not gone to breakfast that morning, it's like a movie. It's like Back to the Future. All of that would have been erased potentially if I didn't go down to that one breakfast and meet them.
I think about that stuff all the time.
We've been talking about that over the past couple of weeks, where if you didn't do this one thing, how different your life would be and your connections would be. For everybody just kind of tuning in, we are speaking with Tim Jones, the founder and executive director of Longer Tables, and putting together a 5,280-foot, 1 mile long table at Auraria Parkway, July 26, 10 a.m. If you're listening on our radio station, do know you can also, if you wanted to see our pretty faces, you just mentioned we're beautiful people here, you can go to one of our social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of that, because these are done live, and kind of watch and listen in. But I am curious, because a mile-long table still just blows my mind, and how many people that you're going to have in it. What are the logistics of even thinking about putting something like that together? I mean, that's just a huge mile taking.
It is. It's wild. And luckily, we have a great team that's heading this up, specifically Indigo and Carlo Stewart, who are event professionals. Carlo has over 20 years of event experience. He once headed up an event of 20,000 people that included dinner. So I'm like, what are you complaining about, Carlo? This is 5,000.
This is nothing.
So
man.
We're good, right?
That's a lot of people.
So it's really, we set this 528 table last summer. It's 10 times that. So it's really just kind of systematizing things.
Please tell me it's one table.
Unfortunately.
Where would you store it, dude? You'd have to
I know.
Take up a big warehouse.
Yeah. Auraria Campus is only a half mile wide. And we're really grateful for them hosting us. So it's going to be several lengths of table with intersections of tables. So it will not be one continuous long table, which is my preference, but it will still be. And just if you're following along with math, don't trust me with math, but it's 660 8-foot tables on 5,280 chairs. So it's, those will be dropped the night before, all set up. And then, kits will be prepared for every table with the plates and the cups and the utensils and all of that. Okay. We will have live greens on the table, and we are serving family style. So Serendipity Catering jumped in last year and donated the entire meal last year. Serendipity, the owner is Laura Zaspel, who is just a wonderful, generous human being as well as business leader. Serendipity, just phenomenal organization. And they got in too. Like, I barely had to sell her on this. And so they're back this year. And then along with the Hispanic Restaurant Association. So John Jaramillo heads that up and is equipping especially Latino chefs to flourish in the restaurant industry It's a beautiful mission, part of John's heart and Laura's heart, as well as Southwest, and all of our sponsors are really committed to bringing down barriers in our city, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and they all know the secret weapon: food. Food is it, right?
Is.
So they've done it for years. They're on the cutting edge of doing just amazing things. Those people are remarkable people. But they've figured this out. John is bringing 15 Latino chefs to grill chicken for us.
Nice.
While Laura and Serendipity will do the greens, and we're doing ancient grains to reflect the indigenous that first inhabited Auraria Campus. We're doing pinto beans that represent the Chicano and the Hispanic community that called Auraria home for decades and decades. And salad dressing. And by the way, how do you address food allergies and food ritual customs for 5,280 people?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, they did. And it's build your own salad, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
it works. Anyone can get a meal out of that. We'll have, oh my gosh, we have fresh bread on every table that will be baked by a, oh gosh, it's going to escape me, but a Newcomers Pasty Academy that hires immigrants to bake bread and become bakers.
Nice.
So does that answer your question? I'm just hoping I show
This
up
is
at
amazing.
10 and it's all set up.
I love
Probably
it. I
won't.
just want it done. So I understand. So it sounds like a lot of these, like Serendipity and Hispanic Restaurant Association, are really taking care of quite a lot of the food.
Yes.
When people show up, do they still bring some food?
No,
or no?
not for the big tables.
Okay.
It would be chaos. So all you bring is yourself.
Love it. Just show up.
That's right.
Like you said.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right.
Show
We also
up.
have Peak Beverage is going to be providing mocktails.
Okay.
So you're going to check in at 10:15, and you're going to be served a delicious, refreshing mocktail if you'd like. And at 11 a.m., we will have a welcome and be welcomed not only to the table, but to the campus by some of the original Aurarians, as well as Southwest and myself. And then let's find a seat.
I love it. Are there any age requirements?
You know, what do we say?
Can you
like
bring
two to 99?
2 to 99?
I mean,
okay.
I guess if you're 100,
So
you
if
can
you're
come.
100, it's
Sure.
like,
No, 100 you can come.
Well, 100 you can still come. I like it. Okay.
Exactly.
I just want to make sure if kiddos can come, bring the whole family
Absolutely.
down to this. Awesome.
Yeah, it's really, it's too many people to control. Typically, like at an 80 or 90 foot table, we have assigned place settings. So you arrive, you see your name.
Right.
At this, we have table sections, and it's an honor system. The invitation is, you know what? Sit next to people you don't know, because
Yeah.
that's what
the
makes
point.
us so
That's where you
special.
get the connection.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the longest table that you've done.
For sure.
I don't know if anybody's actually done a mile long table, but the longest one that you've done at longertables.org. How many tables have you put together? Just out of curiosity, you've been doing this for a little while.
We lost track. Yeah, I think we're probably in the 80 to 100 range
Oh, wow.
of tables.
Oh, that's way more than I was thinking. I was thinking like once a year, but this
No.
is okay.
No, we picked up, and we're starting to track actually numbers now. But probably 6,000 to 7,000 people
Wow.
have connected at tables, and it is a record. It potentially is a record-setting table, and we love that. It's a great hook. It's not the reason why we do it. The reason is we want to provide a place of meaningful connection, and also a display of solidarity. I can't tell you how many maybe once a week I get an email from someone who has seen a news article or a photo of one of our tables, and they're like, hey, I wasn't even at the table, but seeing that photo gives me hope that there's at least one way forward in our world.
Right.
So, and that's half the reason we do this. Yeah, it's great to be at the table, obviously, but man, the photo, the drone shot, of a long table, you don't have to explain to a human being what that means.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Picture
they
is worth-
understand
yeah.
it, right?
Exactly.
Of like what we're doing. So.
And connection is just, I think, so huge now. I mean, we can even feel it just in the community. I think just with the technology, just with the pandemic, just with everything kind of going on, it's really needed right here. So I take it you do get some emails, some stories of people that have attended these longer tables and said, oh, this happened. Thank you very much. I was wondering, hoping that you could share one of your favorite stories of someone that has attended one of your longer tables, and it's just, it reminds you, this is why I do it. This is why we do this.
I've got so many stories. One in particular that cracks me up, and I actually share as a warning. We
I like it already.
I kind of feel like I should sit back. I know, but you and I both just kind of adjusted.
Be careful
Lay it on
what you
us,
show up
Tim.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a table in City Park about 2 years ago during the summer, and this Latino woman, friend of mine, she shows up, and this African man from Senegal shows up, who's a filmmaker and I've connected with, and they both came to the table. Well, they ended up sitting next to each other, hit it off.
Oh, yeah.
He asked her out on a date. They got married and had a baby.
Wow, look at that.
So I asked them to incorporate the word table or longer into the child's name. Just kidding. But
This is on video. My eyes just got really big.
hey, this is Jasmine Table. But no, but that was, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And I joke about it, but wow, like our actions created a life, if you want to go that far.
For sure.
So that's pretty cool. What is, we just, there's moments that stick out because we don't talk about work. I remember a table in Golden that we had a Latina grandma, and I'm not sure about her status. I'm pretty sure she's legal, but wonderful woman that has been a volunteer with us, Bertha, and she sat next to Chris, who is a state senator. And because we're not talking about work or job titles, I remember looking over at them and they were laughing so hard.
Nice.
They had, I don't know what they were talking about, but belly laughs. And I just love to think about, like, if she would have known he was a state senator, it would have just shut it down.
Yeah, completely.
Exactly.
She would have been a shadow of who the beautiful person that she is, regardless of status, regardless of all that stuff.
it.
And Chris would have been a shadow too, because he wouldn't have experienced the real Bertha, the real person, right? So it would have been like thumbnail sketches of these two people, but because the table humanizes, it puts the life back in people. What a beautiful and meaningful moment for both of those individuals.
And that's why I really like the no work, no titles, know what you do, because that's almost always the first question that you ask somebody. Oh, what do you do?
I know, it's your business card out there.
Why-
That's the like speed networking is exactly.
Why do you
that's-
think that is?
I think a lot of our identity just for some reason comes from what we do. I mean, we do it at least 40 hours a week. So it's like, what else are you going to talk about?
It's not who we are, though. I'm in so many different groups, and we talk about this a lot. It's like, what are our titles? It's like we have actually a lot of titles. You're a friend, you're a mom, you're a daughter, you're a husband, you're all of these things. But is that really who you are? And the truth is you're not.
Right.
And I agree. I love that you don't talk about work. I love the kind of speed dating or speed networking where you actually don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like have an icebreaker, and you get to know who the real person is, because a title is a title.
No.
We, a couple of years ago, we started taking the table into companies. So now we are doing leadership development with corporate leaders. And when the first person said, hey, could you bring this inside our company? Because we have some siloed departments. People aren't communicating. It was the whole quiet quitting thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. So we take it inside this company, actually over here in Inglewood. And it was even more powerful. So same rules.
Right.
Hey, welcome to the table. 2 rules, no job talk, no job titles. And we just want to experience the real you.
Right.
Welcome. And in a similar fashion, you have a cross section of people that really don't know each other.
They work
in a
together all the
bigger
time.
company. They work with them, but it's a bigger company.
Right.
So they may have seen them in the hallway. And now you could have like an executive assistant sitting next to the VP and they don't know it. And they're sharing stories about their childhood. What does that do to a company?
It humanizes
It brings
the people.
Well, it's continuity and collaboration. You actually see who they really are, and it's not. It's so much pretense I find in different worlds that it's just because you're up here,
Right.
you have to get treated differently than if you're
Yes.
down. There's no difference,
And they're lonely. Those leaders at
Exactly.
the top are lonely and isolated.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's like they're not approachable because of their title, which
Exactly.
is I love that you're doing this.
Yeah.
You're breaking
That's
down
beautiful.
the stereotypes of all of the crap, if I can say that, in the world that's
We're
been
not
going
FCC.
on. We're not. I know.
Oh, perfect. I wish I would have known that.
I know. Sorry. Yes. This is amazing. Again, for those of you just jumping on, we have Tim Jones here with Longer Tables. Go to milelongtable.org for more information. If you want to get tickets either to co-host, general ticket to be there, this is taking place on July 26th, which is a Saturday at 10 a.m. at Auraria Campus. So go to milelongtable.org to secure your tickets now. And it looks like, and I know I want no spoiler alerts, but not only are you going to feed people, but there's some other things going on as well.
Oh,
Yes.
get ready.
Okay.
Surprise and delight.
Okay.
I like it. All right.
So some entertainment that's going to be taking place a little bit, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Some other connection. I'll spill the beans on one. We will have a kind of a communal art activity. So we have a pretty well-known artist in Denver that has generously, and I should have his name, but I don't have it handy. But he has created a mural, a black and white mural with just the vectors, the lines, and then anyone can come up and color a part of the
Cool.
That's
of
cool.
the art piece.
Nice. That's
So
very cool.
we're going to have more opportunities to connect with other people, and hopefully it's going to be life-giving.
That is very cool. It's like the paint by number when you're
Exactly.
a kid.
That's
I
right.
love it when they have adult coloring books now. I'm
Yeah.
like, thank God, because
Yeah.
I was just scribbling in Paw Patrol for a long time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need my own coloring book because, it's
Well,
the
and-
connectivity.
Exactly, and that's it's like how beautifully symbolic of hey, it takes a city to make up the colors of a painting. We are going to feature the Hispanic Latino community through some music groups because of where we are on Auraria Campus was the original Hispanic community in the very early days of Denver, and tragically in the 60s after a flood they lost their entire neighborhood. They were forcibly relocated out of their neighborhoods. So this is the thing with the table, is the table, when it goes into places where there's brokenness or loss, that table is a statement. We're planting those four legs in a statement saying, no, we are actually going to take back this land in the name of solidarity and unity and healing. So on one level, this is just a great fun event and a connecting event. On another much deeper level, and a lot of people have been doing reconciliation work with the story of Auraria, but I'm passionate, and our team is very passionate about continuing to do the healing work that has to be done with the original Aurarians, that was their neighborhood, and it was taken away from them. And so that's why we're reflecting their food in the menu. That's why we're having them tell their stories. It's why we asked permission, frankly, to have the table at Auraria.
So you went out to Auraria.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the one who reached out to them saying
and
this is what we want to do.
Yeah, and we knew people at Auraria Campus, but I ended up talking to Jamie Torres, our councilwoman, whose grandparents were original Aurarians in the early 20th century and were displaced. And so together we went to the council made up of displaced Aurarians who are now beautiful people in their 70s, 80s, some in their 90s. And we said, hey, we have this idea of this long table. Could we set this on Auraria Campus? And I mean, it's so beautiful for them to feel like, okay, someone sees us. And we are committed to telling the story of what occurred on Auraria. It was the indigenous were there. First, we're reflecting that in the ancient grains. In the 1910s and 20s, migrant communities ended up at Auraria Campus. And what's so beautiful is they all lived peacefully together. You had German migrants, you had Italian immigrants, you had all sorts of Mexican immigrants, and they all lived through the Depression and the wars and got through that together. There's all sorts of stories of unity in those communities up until the 1960s, and this flood kind of wiped out Auraria. So Auraria contains both the stories of loss and really
Coming together.
Yeah, but then also this beautiful example of a city that can live together in the same community and not only live together, but thrive.
Work together.
Together.
Exactly. You're very introspective. That's the type of person you are. And I had a little insight from Josh's mom earlier.
Boy.
It's great. I'm starting to understand why you've kind of gravitated towards this. You've been a pastor.
Yeah.
And you are a pretty established piano player, so I've heard. And all of that is very soulful, humbling, giving, unity. So I can see kind of this journey that you've been on of really giving a lot of yourself to help others. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah. I mean, I blame my dad and
I love it. I'm giving a compliment and then it's nope.
Yeah, well, it is. It really is. My grandma, paternal grandma, his mom, and their superpowers were empathy and this ability to see people like pretty quickly, immediately, to help people feel seen. And my dad can grab a story out of someone within a minute, and I can do the same thing. And I just probably learned it from watching him. Yeah. But I think there's something in our wiring that, I don't know where call it romanticism, but just this deep-seated empathy for human beings and deep compassion. And it's exhausting most of the time too, because wearing our heart on our sleeves. But I love my dad's 87 now and probably in his last, season of life. And, what a wonderful man. And oftentimes he was not rewarded for that behavior, especially in his jobs. He was actually disciplined for that behavior.
Oh, interesting.
And because that's our world oftentimes. It's like speed up, get to work, and get the job done.
Yep.
Right? Instead of what the table does is the table says, slow down.
Right.
Let's talk about meaningful things, and we're not going to solve any problems tonight. We're actually just going to share stories.
I love it.
I do too. I work in my other world at a nonprofit as well, and it is, of course, like every job. It's you hit the pavement running, and we're doing a team building event next week, and I'm hoping that it's exactly that. Like you just can take a moment, get to know who everyone really is and how we can work together collaboratively and as a team. Yeah. Because it's so important to really take that moment and slow down.
Yes.
Because we're always, every morning. I mean, I have my to-do list every single day.
That's right.
It's,
that's right. And then life goes by.
It does. And, take time to smell the roses. Isn't that the phrase?
Yeah. I mean,
I've heard that.
I take it even farther. I'm like, we got to get over our pragmatism.
Yeah.
Because it's killing us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually not fixing anything. It's creating more problems. So,
the event is Mile Long Table. It's going to be at Auraria Campus, July 26th at 10 a.m. 1 mile long, 5,280 people enjoying food. Are you guys, and if you are interested, you can definitely go to their website, longertables.org, find out all about them. And then you can go for tickets, milelongtable.org. Are you guys outside of Colorado doing these tables? Is this a Colorado thing? I mean, where's the organization at?
I'm hoping to take this to Fiji soon. Just kidding.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, that was the correct answer. Yeah.
Anybody want to go?
Yes.
5,000.
Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. We are such a small nonprofit, and we heavily rely on volunteers. But this thing, the table goes anywhere.
Right.
And if there ever was a time for the table, it's now in this world that we're living in.
I agree.
So, we're taking it into companies where we have mayors love this thing. There is no downside of a table for a company or a city. There really is. We have yet to find a downside to this. When everyone helps co-create the table and sponsors are part of it, no one has to, it's a win. So yeah, we were in 5 states last year. We're setting tables at conferences. Cool. If you go to conferences, it's just like head down. We got a conference, buddy, and put our name tag on, and we go to all the speakers, and it's exhausting. Why does it have to be like that?
All you had to say for me was conference.
Right.
And your brain immediately is just like, oh, do I have to go to this?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But imagine starting a conference with a table.
Right.
And you're sitting with all sorts of people from all over the country, if not the world. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about whatever the topic is. No work, no job titles. And it is so beautiful. Because now you create relationships at the beginning of the conference. Now you're traveling through the conference with these people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it just goes anywhere.
I love it. You strip down the barriers of all the pretenses.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, you kind of touched on it. I mean, what do you see for the future of longer tables? I mean, you've been doing this for a little while. As you said, 80, 90 tables, something like that so far. This is the longest one so far, mile high, or mile long and mile high. I like that, at Auraria. So what do you see as the future of this organization?
Yeah. So the model is really simple. There's several intentionalities but I can tell you those in 10 minutes of what we do. So the no job talk, that's an intentionality.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that creates the secret sauce, if you will, of a table. So the hope is people replicate.
Right.
We have a neighboring campaign called Table Together. So we realized, hey, we have these big tables. What is the mini version of that anybody can do? So we're running this September 28th. It's in conjunction with National Good Neighbor Day. And it's one day, many tables and many homes. And so anyone can sign up and say, hey, I'll invite 4 or 5 neighbors over for dinner. And we send you a kit in the mail, conversation questions, name tags, place cards, all that fun stuff, coloring sheets for the kids. And then we send you some videos on how to invite your neighbors, how to do food. Here's your food options. Here's how to set the table. Do it out in the front yard, whatever. So Table Together is really powerful because you see neighbors almost every day. You could see your neighbors almost every day.
It's amazing too, talking about that though. It's amazing how many times you don't even know your neighbors.
You know.
You're talking about community. You're talking about, getting to know people. You don't even know that person across the street.
Yep.
You know that they mow their lawn on this day, but and we've lost that because I remember, my mom even tells me stories. They knew each other. They talked to each other.
Yes.
They
all
borrowed
the time
from each other. They hung out.
Yes.
And today is just, it's not really a thing like it used to be.
We had 2 ladies meet at the 528 table last summer, discovered that they live on the same block in Wash Park. And a month and a half ago, they set a table. They replicated it. Uh-huh. They had 180 people.
Nice. Good
like
for them.
98% of their neighbors that they invited showed up.
Wow.
Wow, very cool.
So if you're thinking, my neighbors are jerks, no one will come if I invite them. Wrong.
Yeah.
Like I did in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like confession, I did not know my neighbors for 3 years, and I'm the table guy. That's embarrassing.
You're the longer table guy.
Yeah, that's anyway. So the barrier is, and I'll get back to your question, but the barrier is fear of rejection. Mm-hmm. That is probably the underlying number one fear under connection and initiating relationship with people. What if they don't respond?
Right.
What if they reject me?
Right.
What does that say about me if they don't want to talk to me?
Right.
Well, that almost never happens. So I knock on the doors and I'm scared. And I had one weird encounter with a lovely neighbor woman of mine. She was cooking, so she was stressed. She's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I just bring whatever you're cooking to the table." But all of the neighbors that I knocked on they came and they were early and they didn't want to leave. It was like 3 hours in the evening. I'm like, "Guys, get out of here. I got to go to bed." So there's this fear that if we invite people to something, they're gonna say no, and that's gonna be bad on me. But what we have found is that almost never happens. People are dying to be invited and to share food. So that's the goal, that tables are replicated, that neighbors. We're gonna take that campaign, Table Together, nationwide. We have some national partners that we're gonna do that with, especially into 2026 for the 250th anniversary of our country, 150th anniversary for Colorado. So we're going to be doing that next year. Just real quick, where I think this really is going to impact lots of people is in our new leadership development journey, where we are going into a company or a city. We're bringing a cross section of leaders together who normally don't connect, right? Who are siloed, not communicating with each other.
Right.
And they're going to eat together. We're going to teach them the competencies of what we have learned over the last 10 years of setting tables. These are leadership principles, it turns out. You can call it servant leadership. That's been nothing's new, by the way. This has been around a long time. We just lost track of it. And so we want to teach them those competencies over 6 months of them getting to know each other. And then we're going to do some identity work with them. Because I would say all external conflict is a result of inner conflict of what's going on in you. So if we can resolve that with leaders and we can get leaders into a healthy place where they start setting figurative tables, does that make sense?
Yeah.
For their people?
Yeah.
It's going to be slow, but that will start changing cultures if the leaders do it.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question. Sorry, I know we're getting close on time,
Yeah.
but for a manager or staff or really anyone in that role who has had their certain way for a very long time, when you come in with a new model and go back to what you just said, like it takes some inner reflection. How often are you finding that you have someone in a role of a management style that they are receptive to that?
If the company already has a culture that is open-minded and open-hearted to some degree, they're going to be open to it.
Okay.
It's definitely, when I go to a company, I say, do you want the red pill or the blue pill?
Nice. I love it.
You know that reference.
Yes, of course.
So the blue pill is we can kind of go easy and kind of, share stories. The red pill is we're going to get in a circle and we're going to talk about our greatest fears.
Yeah. Love it.
And I have met with executives at T-Mobile as well as a council at Shell Oil. And you may have your judgments about these companies, but I'm telling you, these companies really care for their culture and for their people. They're actually very serious about it. And so when I go in and I say, this is what we're going to do, they're ready to go. The other companies, they won't even take the phone call.
Yeah.
They're just shut down.
Yeah.
They would never even entertain something like this.
Okay. I was just curious, it's across the board with so many different companies. And, and Josh and I have talked about that a lot. We are in different roles now. We've worked at big corporations. We're now in different roles now. And it's like, how receptive are we? And we talked about effective, honest, open, respectful communication. And we literally talked about that this morning.
Yeah. To
be like, we need to bring that to everyone around us.
Yes.
And it's so incredibly important, and to be open and receptive. I think when I become closed off, which I do, absolutely, the whole world shuts down.
Yeah.
And I become really depressed when stuff like that happens. And I'm like, okay, I know that this doesn't work. Let's reevaluate. And it is
isolating.
It's very isolating.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that we do that when we feel rejected or hurt or unloved.
Right.
Or
You pull back.
Absolutely. Yep. I am like completely shut down. So I love that you are doing this model. It's amazing that you're going to have 5,280 people at a mile-long table and people that you'd never meet.
Right.
And for those of you that are single, you might be meeting your future spouse at this event.
They've set people up before.
If you have a child, you have to name the child. Maybe not.
With longer end table as a
your option.
I love it. Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much,
This
guys.
is enlightening. We've been looking forward to this interview for a while. So,
thank you for sharing the story. It's like anything in our world and what you guys are doing, telling stories of connection. People doing good. It's we need that. There's so much of the other stuff. So thank you for doing it.
Totally.
Oh, definitely our pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Once again, July 26th, 10 a.m. Check it out, milelongtable.org. That's where you can get tickets. Check out the organization, Longer Tables, longertables.org. Auraria Campus, July 26th, 10 a.m. Thank you very much, Tim. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. I know you're going to have a lot of video there, a drone there, and everything like that. And some prizes.
Oh, yeah.
That, we can't divulge. But maybe I can talk to him into divulging off air.
Yeah.
Oh, we have lots of secrets that we can't go public about.
If you buy me tacos.
All right.
Deal.
Get whatever you want.
Fair enough. I like it. All right, real quick. You know what? I love hard shell tacos. You can't find them anywhere because it's a Tex-Mex thing.
Shell.
It's a Tex-Mex thing.
What about Chewy's?
Chewy's, do they have hard shell tacos?
Don't they?
I don't know. I got to check it out because everywhere I go, it's just always soft.
It is.
And I like hard shell.
I know.
So, yep. But that's another.
I'm like, you couldn't
That's
resist.
another long conversation. I couldn't resist that. Exactly.
That'll be next week's interview.
You know it.
The hard shell guy.
Exactly. Tim Jones, founder and executive director of Longer Tables. Check it out, everybody. July 26, 10 a.m. This has been an interview on K4CO. Make sure to tune in. Coming up here every single day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have 1 solid hour of only Colorado artists, just a huge melting pot of all different genres that are in our rotation. Every single day, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then, of course, Kind of Vague Radio, hosted by Andrew Talent and Rob Dixon, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So thank you very much for tuning in. Tim, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
And look forward to this event.
See you at the
Absolutely
table.
Awesome. See you at the table, everybody. Take care.